Dear brothers and sisters in the Lord, each year, on the fourth Sunday of Advent, it is my privilege to speak to you, the people of the Archdiocese of Mobile, and to wish you God's blessings in this holy season as we prepare to celebrate that God became flesh in order to bring us salvation. The decorations of the season surround us, brightening our communities and hopefully lifting spirits. Our Christmas decorations often include lights brilliantly shining in the darkness of our evenings, which come earlier this time of year. These lights should remind us of the light of the world, whom we are about to welcome. Jesus is the light, which comes to dispel the darkness in our lives. There is much darkness in our world. There is the darkness of sin, suffering, loneliness, violence, shattered dreams, broken relationships, illness, poverty, and hatred. The darkness can seem powerful, but as anyone who has ever turned on a light or lit a candle in a dark room knows, light overcomes the darkness. This message was brought home to me a year ago when there was the horrific tragedy in Newtown, Connecticut. 20 school children and their teachers were murdered in that December 14 school massacre. Monsignor Robert Weiss, pastor of St. Rose of Lima Parish in Newtown, went quickly to the scene. Monsignor Weiss is a psychologist and a counselor. The night of the massacre, he celebrated Mass at the parish church. The church overflowed with people. In the midst of the terrible grief, some had suggested that the Christmas lights in town be turned off as a sign of sorrow. He counseled the families to leave the Christmas lights on. He advised the families to let the lights shine in the darkness. In fact, he said, using a human image, "I have seen 20 new stars in the sky this evening." In doing so, Monsignor Weiss reflected the first words in the Gospel of John. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things came to be through him, and without him nothing came to be. What came to be through him was life, and this life was the light of the human race. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. What is this light? It is the presence of God himself. We prepare to celebrate that Emmanuel, which means God is with us, has been born. Christmas is not merely a charming and festive time of year. It is, far more importantly, a profound statement of faith. It is a statement which we need to hear, and hear repeatedly, because the darkness in our world can seem so deep and so strong that we wonder if the light will be overcome. I recall that when Cardinal Ratzinger was elected Pope in 2005, he immediately appeared on the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica, along with many of the cardinals. Cardinal George of Chicago was one of the cardinals standing on the balcony with the new Pope. But unlike the others who were smiling, Cardinal George had a pensive look on his face. He was later asked, what was he thinking as he stood on the balcony? He answered that as he stood high above the crowd, he could see much of the city of Rome before him. He could see the ancient Colosseum, the ruins of the Forum, which was the seat of government in the Roman Empire, and he could see other ancient buildings and monuments. He said that he thought to himself, where is the successor of Emperor Augustus or Emperor Nero? Where is the successor of King Herod? Or where is the successor of Pontius Pilate? But he added, if anyone wondered, where is the successor of Peter, who was crucified for following Christ? He was, even 2,000 years later, standing there on that balcony. Cardinal George was saying that evil can seem so powerful at the moment, but it cannot overcome the light. Darkness never has the final word. We need to be reminded of this. We may be experiencing the darkness of sorrow, illness, broken relationships, financial struggles, or sin. The darkness in our lives may seem so powerful, but we are not alone. God has come to us and will not leave us. He is not only high above in the heavens, He is with us. With God, we can handle anything. With God, we have nothing to fear. When a priest or deacon baptizes someone, whether an infant or an adult, he presents a lit candle to the newly baptized and says, "Receive the light of Christ." This message of faith has been given to each one of us. This message was the message that Monsignor Weiss told the grieving families in Newtown. It is the message we need to hear as we stand at a newly dug grave, as we sit in a doctor's office waiting for the results of the test, as we ponder over the failure of a friendship or a love, and as we try to cope with the darkness that seemingly threatens to overwhelm us. It is the message that is told to us again in our Christmas celebration. It is the message that the light has come into the world and no darkness can ever overcome it. This is the message of Christmas we will celebrate this week. May God bless you and your loved ones, and may each of you have a merry and holy Christmas. Sincerely in the Lord, Thomas J. Rodi, Archbishop of Mobile.